ever come between a man and his meal. I never forgot that either. Most niggas would have to run the streets for years to learn a lesson that profound. It took me 2 seconds. Never get between somebody and their paper. Taking a man's livelihood away from him is akin to killing him.
Hey, Kev, you didn't say nothing to Cat Williams when he did a 3-hour interview talking slow yesterday. You didn't put a shot clock on him.
Well, do you entertain the circus or do you watch it, Perk? Which one do you do? What do you do? You watch it. You go, man, look at that lion riding the bike. That's what you say.
Wherewithal, resolve, compassion, reverence for Skip Bayless. Why are you so aggressive anytime somebody black say something? The man said, put your glasses on, and you put your glasses back on. Don't play with me. Put your glasses back on, Shannon.
Now, I know he didn't say goddamn and boy, but that's what everybody heard. And I was waiting for you to snatch his ass across that table, baby, and give it to him. I was like, Shannon, this is the perfect time. I don't condone violence.
Right.
I don't say be violent, but that day.
Welcome back to your daily dose of scandal and glamour. Let's spill the tea on today's biggest celebrity stories. Dave Chappelle just lit a match and threw it straight into the middle of Shannon Sharpe's legal mess. And the internet is losing it. You've probably heard by now, Shannon got hit with a bombshell lawsuit by a woman named Gabrielle Zuniga, claiming he assaulted her multiple times. But what you didn't hear? Dave says that lawsuit might be a straight-up setup. According to him, some heavy hitters behind the scenes are pulling the strings, and their target? Club Shay Shay. See, Shannon's been running his mouth a little too freely on that podcast, spilling secrets, digging up dirt, and dragging celebs without mercy. And let's be real, Hollywood don't play that. Word on the block is these execs got tired of seeing their names get dragged through the mud, so now they're moving in to shut Shannon down. But here's where it gets real nasty. Dave claims Shannon's not just talking. He's allegedly been collecting leverage. Yep, rumors say he's been blackmailing folks using the dirt he gathers behind the scenes while taping. That mic wasn't just recording stories. It might have been recording power moves. Dave warned him early on too. Back when Club Shay Shay started blowing up, he told Shannon to chill. Joking is one thing, but when you start targeting big names with receipts, you're stepping into dangerous territory. And now, it looks like those same celebs are clapping back with lawsuits and hush money traps. The question now is, who exactly was Shannon holding stuff over? And how deep does this rabbit hole go? Because if what Dave's saying is true, this isn't just a lawsuit, it's a takedown. And the streets are ready to watch every second of it unfold. When Cat Williams pulled up to Club Shay Shay last year and dropped that now infamous interview, the whole game shifted. And Dave Chappelle, he immediately sent Shannon a warning shot. Dave said straight up, "You only cookin' the brothers. You ain't saying nothing about these white boys. None of them operate like that." And then he dropped a cold line about Cat. Cat's one of the best artists in this game. So why you painting us in the ugliest light? Boom. That wasn't a joke. That was a message. Cat clapped back too, with no filter. He accused Shannon of trying to wreck the very people who built the stage he's standing on. "I'm hurt," Cat said, "but I never hurt people." He made it clear. Shannon's been out here throwing daggers at his own people, and for what? To play truth teller? To look righteous? Then Cat said something that stopped people cold. "If I told y'all my story, it would break your heart. I lost everything, and I ain't never snitched on nobody." That hit different. Real talk from someone who's been through it. He challenged Shannon straight up. "Tell me what part of the game involves messing with another man's money. What part of the game is it to expose another brother?" That's the energy Cat brought. And honestly, a lot of people felt that. Celebs started turning on Shannon quick. It's one thing when fans start gossiping or throwing wild theories online, but when a celeb goes on another celeb's podcast to drag folks under studio lights, that's betrayal, plain and simple. The loyalty? Gone. And let's not forget that Cat Williams interview. That was the spark that lit the whole fire for 2024. After that, Club Shay Shay turned into the unofficial expose headquarters, and the fallout hasn't stopped since. That Club Shay Shay episode, it didn't just break records, it shattered the internet. Over 80 million views and still climbing. It's now the most watched podcast interview ever on the platform. But with that level of impact came serious consequences, especially for Shannon Sharpe. See, Cat Williams didn't hold back, and a whole lot of celebs weren't feeling it. Some felt like Cat wasn't exposing, he was hating. His career had been on a rough ride for a minute, and folks started whispering that maybe this wasn't about justice. Maybe it was jealousy. And the first person to catch that smoke, Cedric the Entertainer. Cat dragged Cedric with zero filter, accusing him of snatching other comedians' material and passing it off like it was his own. He straight up called Ced a fraud, said he didn't even write his own stuff, that he was either stealing or letting ghostwriters cook for him while he just performed the act. For someone with Cedric's legacy, that was a straight up disrespectful hit. And yeah, Cedric clapped back fast. He hopped on Instagram and fired off, calling Cat's version of events revisionist history. He didn't sugarcoat it. Ced made it clear. No matter what Cat thinks, my career can't be reduced to one joke Cat Williams claims is his. Boom. That line hit hard, but it also showed just how deep this beef runs. Because once Cedric responded, it opened the door for other comedians and celebs to start choosing sides. And Shannon? He was stuck right in the middle of it all, watching the podcast he built turn into a war zone for old grudges and new enemies. Cedric the Entertainer wasn't done just brushing Cat off with a quick post. He came back swinging. He said, "I've been in over 40 movies. My specials and brands speak volumes about who I am. I put people on, including Cat in the hat at the Gibson Amphitheater. All that tough talk? Corny. I'm a grown man. And none of this is gonna go how you think." Whew, that wasn't just shade. That was a warning. But Cedric wasn't the only one loading clips. Kevin Hart slid in too, and he went straight for the jugular. He hopped on social media and called Cat a full-blown clown, said he belongs in a circus, not a stage. And let's be real, folks expected Kevin to fire back. Cat had already been throwing wild shots at him before. Cat accused Kevin of being a fraud, not just in comedy but in life. He claimed Kevin's whole hard-working family man image was nothing but smoke and mirrors. According to Cat, everything folks admire about Kevin is just a Hollywood illusion, a role he's been playing to perfection, backed by powerful handlers behind the scenes. But here's the thing, this beef ain't new. Cat and Kevin been at odds for years. This wasn't random shade, it was built-up heat. Cat's been yelling for the longest that he got blackballed for telling the truth, for refusing to dance to the industry's tune. And guess who's been eating off those same roles he says were snatched from him? Yeah, Kevin. That's why the tension's so real. It ain't just about jokes or fame. It's about legacy, about survival, and about who the industry lets win. And in Cat's eyes, Kevin Hart's been benefiting off silence, while he got punished for keeping it too real. Kevin Hart wasn't about to let Cat Williams run wild with his narrative. He pulled up to the Breakfast Club and shut it down, said Cat didn't get blackballed for being too real. According to Kev, he got benched because of his own mess, being difficult on set, burning bridges, and making it hard for folks to work with him. So when Cat went in on Kevin during that Club Shay Shay interview, it didn't feel random, it felt like payback. Kevin had already aired him out on one of the biggest radio platforms in the game. Cat just waited for his moment to return fire. But Kevin, he wasn't backing down either. He doubled down, once again calling Cat a clown who belongs in a circus. No apologies, no backpedaling. But that interview didn't just stir up a Kevin-Cat feud. It exploded into full-blown chaos for both Cat and Shannon. Social media was relentless. Rapper Mai-Chi even came for Shannon, accusing him of being anti-black. He said Shannon only gets loud when it's time to critique his own people, but suddenly goes mute when white folks are involved. That hit a nerve. Cat's interview had already put a spotlight on Shannon's platform, but it got way messier when Monique showed up next. And she wasn't playing either. She called out Tyler Perry and Oprah by name, throwing shade like it was personal. After that, people started saying what others were already thinking, that maybe Shannon wasn't just letting folks speak their truth. Maybe he had an agenda, 'cause back to back, it was nothing but big-name black entertainers getting dragged on his stage. First Cedric, then Kevin, now Tyler and Oprah? Yeah, people were connecting dots. And Shannon, he was looking real shaky. Folks started wondering if Club Shay Shay turned from a platform for voices into a trap set up to bait and bury the very community it claimed to uplift. That interview with Monique, it confirmed everything folks had been whispering. Just like Cat, she came in swinging, and nobody was safe. Oprah, Tyler Perry, Kevin Hart, they all caught heat. Monique didn't sugarcoat nothing. She aired out the industry and doubled down on how she got blackballed after Precious. According to her, she fulfilled her contract, did her job, period. But when she refused to do extra promo runs for free, that's when things allegedly got ugly. Fast. She said Oprah and Tyler Perry took that personally. And from that moment on, the doors started slamming shut. The power they held, it was real. Because once they stepped back, the rest of the industry fell in line. Like dominoes. Monique became untouchable. People were scared to stand next to her, scared to even tweet support out of fear they'd get iced out too. But here's where it takes a turn. According to Monique, Kevin Hart came around and played like he was different, said he had her back, said he supported her when everyone else turned away, told her she wasn't crazy, that he was ride or die, and she believed him. Kevin made her feel like she wasn't alone, like finally someone in the game had enough guts to stand with her instead of watching from the sidelines. She thought he was solid, but just like that, he flipped, switched sides, started rubbing shoulders with the same folks she told him were responsible for the smear campaign against her, and she felt that betrayal deep. She said Kevin pretended to be loyal while slowly backing away behind the scenes, promised her one thing, then turned around and joined the very machine that tried to bury her. And the worst part? She really believed he was one of the few who actually cared. So when she went on Club Shay Shay and let all that out, it wasn't just drama, it was personal. And it exposed a pattern. People pretending to be allies when the cameras are off, then jumping ship the second it messes with their brand. Kevin didn't just fall back from Monique, he ghosted her like she never even existed. And the coldest part? He didn't even cut her off himself. Nope, he sent other people to do his dirty work while he smiled for the cameras. That's what really stung. But it gets worse. Monique claimed she's got audio receipts. She says there's a recording of Kevin throwing her under the bus, begging Tyler Perry behind the scenes, trying to save his own image while selling her out. That right there? Straight betrayal. So now it makes sense why celebs are side-eyeing Shannon and his podcast. He's become a magnet for drama, and not the kind you walk away from clean. Even D.L. Hewley chimed in, calling Shannon messy and accusing him of letting guests spread lies and twisted stories about their peers. He basically said, Club Shay Shay turned into a gossip trap, dressed up as journalism. And honestly, a lot of folks agree. But if you think that's wild, buckle up. Because this next part is where it really gets dirty. Word on the street is, Shannon's not just letting his guests talk crazy. He's allegedly playing a whole different game behind the scenes. Sources say he's been blackmailing celebs using the tea they spill on his podcast. Allegedly, he edits out the most explosive parts, keeps the raw, uncut truth for himself, and then uses it as leverage when things get tense. Basically, he's sitting on a vault of unreleased confessions, stuff that could ruin careers. And if that's true, it paints a whole new picture of why people are trying so hard to take him down. Because guess what? That lawsuit against Shannon? It was filed one day before news broke that he was about to sign a major deal for Club Shay Shay. The timing? Way too clean to be a coincidence. Somebody clearly wanted to stop that bag before it got locked in. Just when Shannon Sharpe was about to level up, boom, here comes the lawsuit. Word is, he was this close to locking in a $100 million contract after his deal with Colin Cowherd's Volume Podcast Network ended. He was gearing up for something massive. And then suddenly, he's getting hit with career-ending accusations. The timing? Too perfect to be random. Even Shannon's lawyer said it loud and clear. The lawsuit wasn't just personal, it was strategic. In his own words, she knew Mr. Sharpe was about to receive a lucrative contract and used that moment to strike. That, in my opinion, is the very definition of blackmail. It gives the highest possible leverage to the accuser. That she is the Jane Doe at the center of the storm, the one accusing Shannon of manipulating and controlling her, and even worse, claiming he violated her multiple times between October 2024 and January 2025. According to her, Shannon ignored her pleas to stop, even when she cried and screamed for help. She said she was only 19 when they started seeing each other, and Shannon was a full 54. She painted him as someone who saw her age as nothing more than a number, and boundaries as something to bulldoze through. Even more disturbing, she claimed he insisted on recording their intimate moments without her knowing, told her they were for personal use, but later, allegedly shared those videos with friends on multiple occasions. And just when you think it can't get messier, her lawyer dropped another bombshell. Shannon and his team offered her $10 million to stay silent and not go public with the lawsuit. That's not speculation. Shannon's own legal team confirmed the offer. So now people are split. Either Shannon's as guilty as they come, or he was terrified of how this would look in the spotlight. Because one thing's clear, whether true or not, these accusations could destroy everything he built. Was it a preemptive move to protect his image, or was that money a quiet confession in disguise? Either way, the damage is already spreading. Gabriela Zuniga, also known as Jane Doe, wasn't playing. She came locked in with a heavyweight attorney, Tony Busby. Yeah, that Tony Busby, the same one who's made headlines going toe-to-toe with some of the biggest names in entertainment and politics. Busby revealed that back in early February, his office reached out to Shannon's camp to discuss a private sit-down on behalf of Jane Doe. He said multiple conversations took place. Eventually, both sides agreed to mediation. Shannon even switched up legal teams for it. That's how serious it got. The talks didn't last a day or two. They dragged on for over 6 weeks, with high-stakes negotiations behind closed doors. And what came out of it? Shannon allegedly put a massive offer on the table, one that Busby described as incredibly significant. But here's where it gets wild. Jane Doe rejected it. That's right. She walked away from $10 million. Instead of taking the bag, she chose to move forward and file the lawsuit. According to Busby, on one hand, Mr. Sharpe's lawyers are calling this case meritless. On the other hand, they're now admitting Shannon offered $10 million to make it all disappear. He said it plainly. That offer was real. It was in writing. And my client said no. Now the legal gloves are off. Busby claims Shannon's team is scrambling, not just denying the accusations, but trying to dox Jane Doe and discredit her publicly. And he says they've turned their attention toward him too, trying to shake his credibility. But Busby's response? Cold and clear. We are not going to be deterred by these tactics. Shannon's side? They didn't stay quiet either. They came out swinging with their own statement, and then took it further by leaking old texts allegedly sent by Jane Doe herself. And the contents? Wild. In one of the messages, she allegedly wrote, "I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me." That leak set the internet on fire. Suddenly, people were questioning the entire case, asking if the text painted a different picture of their relationship. But others clapped back, saying none of that changes the core issue, consent. And just like that, the lawsuit turned into a brutal PR war, with both sides throwing punches and nobody backing down. What came next was straight-up chaos. Private texts, allegedly from Gabriela Zuniga to Shannon Sharpe, started surfacing, and they were wild. The language in those messages? Unfiltered, explicit, and raw. One message read, "I know you miss this juicy A, $20,000 for each cheek, but only if you put that baby gravy in me. Then you can do whatever you want to me." Another said, "I want to put my tongue in your a-hole and then marry you. That's my daddy. I want you to put a big black baby in me. You better crave it, 'cause you're gonna be stuck with it for life." People were shook. The internet exploded. Some were calling it an exposed trap. Others were warning not to confuse wild fantasies with consent. But no matter where you stood, one thing was clear. The situation was spiraling fast. In response, Shannon Sharpe's team dropped a formal statement, and they didn't mince words. They said, "This lawsuit filed by Gabriela Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney Tony Busby is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions. Her goal is simple: extract a huge settlement using misleading tactics." According to them, Gabriela had secretly recorded an intimate moment and later used the footage to corner Shannon. They claimed the video was heavily edited, ripped out of context, and meant to twist a consensual act into something criminal. They added, "We believe the video was crafted to falsely portray a consensual encounter as non-consensual. The full evidence paints a different picture, one of a fully consensual adult relationship built on role play, explicit language, and fantasies that were clearly initiated by Ms. Zuniga." Shannon's team doubled down, claiming that Gabriela showed him the edited clip during one of her alleged blackmail attempts. And now, they're arguing that she's using isolated footage and cherry-picked texts to flip the narrative. Sharpe's reps ended it with a hard line. Mr. Sharpe categorically denies all allegations of coercion or misconduct, especially the malicious claim of sexual assault. He refuses to give in to what he sees as a vile and deliberate attempt to blackmail him. And just like that, what started as a lawsuit turned into a full-blown legal war, with receipts, leaks, and reputations on the line. Shannon Sharpe's legal team stood tall, claiming he's ready to battle these accusations head-on. He stands firmly by the truth and intends to fight these false claims vigorously in court. He looks forward to vindication through due process and a judgment grounded in facts and the law. But Jane Doe's attorney, Tony Busby, was not letting Shannon off the hook that easy. Busby fired back hard, saying the texts leaked by Sharpe's team were from before the alleged assault ever took place. In his own words, every message released by Mr. Sharpe's legal counsel was sent prior to the alleged incident detailed in our lawsuit. This was a clear attempt to manipulate public perception and distract from the actual allegations. He made it clear, no matter what was said before, it doesn't cancel what allegedly happened after. Then, Busby flipped the script, leaking his own batch of texts that painted a very different story. In one of them, Gabriella allegedly wrote, "I cried when you left because I begged you to put a protection on and not put it in my behind, and you didn't listen. I don't care what our history is. No means no, Shannon. I don't even know how to process this." And how did Shannon respond? He allegedly just said, "Can I call you later?" But Busby wasn't done. He dropped the most disturbing bomb yet, an audio recording. In the clip, Shannon Sharpe could allegedly be heard threatening to choke Gabriella. Another segment featured him making dark comments involving a big black man choking a small white woman. Busby didn't hold back his reaction. He said, "The contents of this clip are certainly not playful. They're disturbing, aggressive, and dangerous. This audio paints a clear picture of how Shannon Sharpe treated Jane Doe, enough that she felt the need to flee Nevada and cut off all contact. Now the court of public opinion is exploding. Some are asking whether these leaked texts and audio clips prove something darker. Others believe they're being used for shock value, to sway judgment before the trial even begins. Either way, this isn't just a PR problem anymore. It's a legal war zone, and both sides are showing no signs of backing down. But let's be real, this whole situation, it's a straight-up disaster, a twisted, messy, public explosion that's got the whole industry rattled. And when you throw in Dave Chappelle's claims that this might be a calculated takedown, suddenly it don't seem so far-fetched. Dave warned us from the jump. Shannon was playing with fire by calling out the elite, and now it's looking like they're trying to snatch the mic from his hands before he gets any louder. Think about it. The moment Shannon was about to level up with that $100 million deal, everything fell apart. Lawsuit, leaks, backlash, all of it dropped like a bomb, right when he was about to own one of the most powerful platforms in media. And that's exactly what his enemies didn't want. A man with reach, with dirt, and with zero fear of naming names. So now the question is, was this just karma catching up? Or was it a full-blown hit job to shut Shannon down before he could expose them? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest tea. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.